Good morning, Soul Embodiment Tribe. Bridget Patton here with Soul Massages. Just going to answer a few questions. I've been pondering this all weekend, how to respond to it so that it really resonates and it makes sense. So the first question that I'm answering is, if I feel unworthy and don't love myself, how can I get past this? So the first thing that I want to remind everybody is, when I'm communicating from source, I'm trying to help everybody have a transformation from the ego thought process and open up the ego to be in alignment with what source is communicating. And it's layers of unfolding that happen. And as each layer comes off, it makes it more and more obvious that what we've been carrying around with us are all projections and distortions that other people had been carrying around with them, that we picked up on and we took on as our own. And it typically starts to happen. It actually can happen all the way before you're even born. It can happen in the womb. It can happen in childhood as you start to go out into society. It can happen as a teenager when you're trying to fit in with your peers. It can happen going into adulthood as you try to make your parents proud of you. I mean, it can really be a number of things. So the first point that I'm making here is that each and every one of us is an extension of source energy. And as an extension of source energy, there is no unworthiness. There is no separation. There is no division between who you are and all of the things that you think that you are. So with that key concept as the foundation, understand that everything that is being shed, everything that is being surrendered, has to do with ego, has to do with that survival instinct that comes into play to keep us safe, to keep things in a pattern, to make sure you're comfortable, to make sure that you're staying in a pattern. And the reason that it's painful to shift out of patterns is because it's really not something that we exercise very frequently in our specific society. And so to start breaking out of that mold, it can actually be really uncomfortable and really painful in the beginning. But the more you embody source energy and the more that you understand the communication that spirit is giving to you, the less of an impact it has emotionally, mentally, physically, because you're now just channeling the energy through you and you're not getting caught up with things that are patterns that aren't you. So I'm going to kind of rephrase that a little bit. So each and every one of us carries a blueprint inside of us that is our unique essence as an extension from source energy. And when we are allowing ourselves to be exactly authentically who we are, that is how we start step by step creating a new pattern for ourselves, a pattern that is in direct alignment with source. And it doesn't mean that you're unworthy or that you should feel shameful or guilty when you want to manifest or when you realize that spirit is using you. That's something to get excited about, because we are the physical representations of source energy. We are the ones that are mirroring and reflecting what unconditional love looks like. And so it's not really about worthiness. It's really about acceptance. It's about trusting yourself and rewiring those belief systems so that you can be more in alignment with source and what source has in store for you and what your mission is here and what your gifts are here. So again, if you're feeling, or if you think that you're feeling unworthy, rephrase the way that you're looking at yourself. Rephrase the way that you're processing this new energy that you're acknowledging about yourself. When something like that comes up for you, it's because you're Sorry, I don't know if any of you guys are commenting. I'm sorry if you are. My phone doesn't show that. So good morning if any of you guys are saying anything. Anyway, so it doesn't have anything to do with you being unworthy. It has to do with your perspective and shifting that perspective so that you can receive those communications from source at a higher frequency. So each layer of understanding that you have it's going to be limited by your language and by your understanding of energy and by your understanding of vibrations and frequencies. That's the only thing that limits us in this reality is our understanding of our abilities. And so if you can allow yourself to move outside of your current belief systems and just recognize that these emotions that are coming up are being offered up to you so that you can welcome in a new level of understanding, that takes a lot of the pressure off. That takes a lot of the self-judgment and a lot of the am I worthy or not. So remember, this all stems back to what's going on inside of you. It has absolutely nothing to do with what anybody else thinks about you. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything external. This has to do with connecting with your inner being and your heart space. Your heart space is in direct alignment with source energy at all times. And our understanding of setting boundaries and holding our reality and shielding ourselves shifts. The more in alignment with source we are, the more we allow that pure energy of unconditional love to flow through us. And so my invitation to you guys, rather than focusing on whether or not you're worthy, is to ask yourself what the definition of unconditional love is. What is unconditional love? Love without conditions. Each and every single one of us, that's who we are at our core. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've done. When you came into this world, you were an extension and are an extension of source. So if you understand what source is, or have an idea or feel it in your body in some way, or you've experienced a high vibration of excitement or bliss or euphoria or whatever it is, understand that that right there is the vibration that you're looking for. That right there is the emotion you're looking for. That is when everything is clear. That's when things are free flowing. That's when new ideas come in. That's when you receive your creativity. Those are your inspirational, energetic moments that are in alignment with source. Anything else is a destructive energy, which isn't a good or a bad thing. You guys know that I don't categorize things into good and bad because that's just a limitation of separation. We process it at a vibrational level, and we understand that when we're allowing ourselves to unfold into who we are, we're going to process energy the same way that source does, which is to allow the energy in and allow the energy out. So when things are offered up to you like that, those sensations that come up and you label it like, oh, this emotion that I'm feeling must be unworthiness, or this emotion I'm feeling is guilt or shame, rather than understanding that it's a destructive energy that's coming up to let go of a part of you that is not really you. You're an extension of source. Just keep reminding yourself of that. You are an extension of source. So of course, all of these limitations that you're carrying around with you are going to have to be released in order to make room for that divine wisdom. So when that stuff comes up, it's about not getting attached to it and allowing yourself to work through that process. If you guys are looking for more assistance in that, you know that you can reach out to me, and I would love to do a complimentary synergy session with you and talk to you about my Crack the Safe course that I take people through to expand into higher levels of awareness. If that's something you're interested in, I would love to talk with you. Otherwise, I do have my book available on Amazon, and it goes through this process that I'm describing to you over and over again all throughout the book. So if you have any questions, you know where to reach me. Otherwise, I hope that you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video.